If you're new to faith but not new to business, you might be carrying this quiet pressure. Do I need to tell my audience I'm Christian now? Well, not always. Sometimes it's wisdom, sometimes it's anxiety. Yesterday, I stumbled on Africa Brooks' video of how she had tried everything else and did not work until she tried Jesus
I
Christ.
I was willing to try anything but Jesus.
And while people were celebrating that she's out with her faith, a couple of comments stood out to me. One said, "This feels as though you have chosen to shrink yourself, to abdicate your creative power, and it makes me deeply, deeply sad to know that your beautiful, courageous, strong, authentic voice will be filtered through this lens going forward." When I read that, I was sad. Now, to you, because you've got traction, a reputation, a brand, people came for business, and now you've met Jesus. And suddenly you're staring at your own brand like, do I put Christian in the bio? Do I post it? Do I tell clients? Do I risk confusing people? Do I risk losing money? Will I look fake if I don't? Your thumb is probably hovering over the edit button of your profile, and you can feel two forces pulling you. One feels like integrity, the other feels like pressure. Now, let me say this clean. You don't owe your audience an announcement. But you also don't want to build a life where your inside and your outside are split. So here's the real question. Are you trying to be a Christian entrepreneur or an entrepreneur who is a Christian? Because those are not the same assignment. So let me share a little bit of history here so you don't get trapped by the moment because there's a wave that is going on across the world right now. There have been seasons where identifying as Christian was social disadvantage, and there have been seasons where it became social advantage. At different points in history, Christianity moved from underground to official, and once something becomes official, it can become political, cultural, performative. So you need wisdom here because the goal isn't to wear a label, the goal is to live a life that's aligned. More like faith is the tuning fork, the frequency, not the costume. So for me personally, here are my three filters. Basically, just three questions that I often ask myself and I've asked people that I've worked with in the past. Number one, is this about your message or your identity performance? If you announce I'm Christian, but your work still smells like proving, you've just added a religious layer to anxiety. But if your faith is becoming the master frequency, it will show up in your decisions, your boundaries, your pricing, your ethics, your pace. So the first move is not to announce. The first move is to align. Number two, does your audience need the label to understand your work? Sometimes it helps to share. For example, when announcing expensive decision or why you want to do certain deals, or maybe when it explains a boundary, or maybe when it explains a shift, say your definition of success changed. Other times, it's not necessary. If your audience came for product leadership strategy, you don't need to drop a full conversion story on them like a grenade. You can do this with a sound mind. Quiet, clear, composed. Number three, what's the motive? Is it fear? Is it proving or stewardship? If you're silent mainly because you're afraid of losing customers, that's one conversation with God. If you're announcing mainly because you want Christian approval, that's another conversation with God. But stewardship sounds like I want my public work to be honest and to serve people, not to use them. That's claim. Share this with someone who has recently just found faith but are doubting their business decision.